So the channel has been covering grifters and frauds and scams, as well as the online scene with Scientology and anti-Scientology. So this is very confusing on both sides. So I'm going to try to provide as much clarity as possible, though I will admit I do have biases because I've had a lot of bad encounters with Diane whatever, and I just found her over and over again to be caught red-handed lying, and she just doesn't care. Now, this is a more systemic problem with the ex-Scientologists, to be fair to her, that because of their training and indoctrination, they just don't care about the truth. I mean, one thing that is very key in L. Ron Hubbard, which you will pick up on if you do read him carefully, is that truth doesn't really matter. Like, factual, scientific truth is just not very high in Scientology values. And that's just how he thinks, and that's how they think, too. But there is a serious issue at play here, which I'm not going to deal with in this video. I will get to the tabloid stuff, and then we'll get to something more serious, which is very dark and tragic. And I do think Alanzo is trying to be responsible with that issue, but that doesn't mean we can't be uncritical about what's going on. So what is happening? Well, essentially, Alanzo had a blog as well as YouTube channel. The blog has been, to put it mildly, really radically mischaracterized. So Diannetex is charging that the blog was obsessed with her, writing endless articles about her, da 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 da. You would think this would be unsavory, really shocking stuff. And for some odd reasons, she refuses to even tell us, well, what did he write about? What was so alarming? She just refuses to provide any evidence at all, or was, quote, guilty of stalking her or anything like that. There just is no evidence of that. So because she can't really prove her case, she just keeps insulting him, and DOA has taken up his cause. Now, DOA clarified, had a few conversations. Alanzo gave him a lot of information about various things. He double-checked, they were confirmed, so DOA thinks he has a lot of credibility. And I am trying to be as patient as possible with all these people, but really, it's just what it is. It's a hit piece, it's a hit job. They are just not being serious about the truth. So Liz Gale, out of nowhere, decided to drop into the chat. And I mean, literally, DOA was just talking to his subscribers and followers, and Liz Gale just joined in, getting outraged that DOA was saying that Liz Gale was dead agenting him. Now, dead agenting is a technical term, but really, like anything else with Elron, this is nothing new. Basically, the idea is you destroy someone so much that you think anything they say, everything they do, has no value, and you don't give them any credibility at all. But smooth brain, being that Elron is, and Liz Gale is too, that is not relevant. So let me get to the punchline real quick. Let's take someone like Aristotle. Now, you can read Aristotle and admire much of the good works and good writings, but he has, to put it mildly, some really, really terrible writings. And one of them that's probably the most notorious is his defense of slavery. I'm not going to go into it. It's not a very rational defense, even if you think this is not a good idea. It's just not a very well thought out defense of slavery. Now, you may have bad thoughts about Aristotle the person, and I don't have much, frankly, good thoughts about him. That is irrelevant. We still have to assess the position and work through it. As it is, pro-slavery position is kind of stupid, so there's not much to deal with. And there we are. That is the end of the question. You don't need to like someone or love someone to read what they're saying or assess an argument. But, apparently Liz Gale is not very intelligent. Neither is L. Ron Hubbard. So she thinks that DOA is trying to make her into a Scientologist. And she got really offended. And she was there early in the chat insulting him, and then got angry, and then got off the chat, created a short on her YouTube channel, also expressing her anger. And then she jumped back into the chat. And Diannetex also showed up. So it's kind of degenerated into a clown show. Oh, by the way, DOA did apologize to Liz Gale. Now, not making DOA or Alanzo into heroes. That's not the point here. But DOA did have a pretty good point. So they never addressed saying, okay, what is your issue with Alanzo? And they just kept going back to Alanzo's this, Alanzo's that, insulting him and saying he's crazy, right? Because good or bad, Alanzo does have a lot of credibility. He does. You may not like how he does the blog, you may not like how he does his stories, but he is a sincere critic. They also made Alanzo into this kind of mind wizard who was somehow brainwashing DOA. And he needs to stop doing that, Diannetex has been yelling in her posts and in the chat. Oh, we're just going around in a big, big circle. Do you actually have evidence that he's wrong? And the answer is no. Now, there was one actual topic that Alanzo could be wrong, and that is a serious issue. It is not relevant to what they are talking about in terms of Scientology or anti-Scientology. So we're kind of stuck that they're just insulting him. That's about it. But I'm just marveling at the attitude of these people that Liz Gale in her short said, I'll allow you, DOA, to use Scientology terms. I didn't realize we became a monarchy. When did she become Queen Liz Gale? He's allowed because he has rights, which she acknowledged, but not only like, yeah, you have the right. Okay. Apparently having the right to speak your mind is something she finds very disturbing, apparently. And this just keeps happening over and over again, with a certain contingent, not all of them, but a huge contingent of ex-Scientologists just think that they are special. They get special rights. They get special privileges. They have special titles. They are lairds. They are queens. They are princes. They are but they're not. This is not even England. They have no official status as king or queen or whatever. So what are you babbling about? What are you complaining about? What is even the thing you got upset about? You use Scientology terms. Right. And people who read Aristotle say Aristotelian things. That does not mean that they're pro-slavery. Doesn't mean anything at all. You can write a book on Marx, right? Say Marxian things. Does not make you a committed communist Marxist. It just means you study the thing, right? You master the thing and the vocabulary of the thing. That does not make you the thing itself. Like, I've studied fascism for decades. I know the fascist vocabulary. I sometimes use fascist terms. Does not make you a fascist, right? Reading X does not make you X. Knowing about X does not make you X. That's just stupid. Does Liz Gale really think that if she lets her kids read about bears, they become bears? They read about bees, they become bees? How stupid is she? Like, this is just dumb. Like, I'm sure Liz Gale, when she does groceries, reads about honey. Does she literally become a jar of honey? Like, how dumb is she? Like, this is just stupid. Now, there is one thing Alanzo could have messed up on, and you can definitely say he should lose some credibility as a person. That does not affect his positions, does not affect his rights. What you and Diannetex are trying to do are destroy his rights and ruin his reputation. Again, as a writer, which you are free to do with evidence. You didn't provide any. You just said, oh, he's crazy. He's very crazy. He crazies. I ask calmly, what is your issue? And all you keep doing is insulting, and he's crazy. He's crazy. He's crazy. I'm going to suspect you don't have anything to say, and you don't. So you can go to the DOA chat. I'm just summarizing the clown show. There was a serious issue that they broached, but of course, being the usual smooth brains, they didn't handle it very nicely or correctly. That's how they are. And believe you me, I am very critical of DOA and very critical of Alanzo, but, you got to give me something to work with. And so far, we just have Liz Gale going really angry in a short, being McQueen, who will allow rights to the peasants because, reason. And that's where we are now.